What if I told you that everything that you knew about storytelling is wrong? Most people tell you that stories need what, why, who, when, where. But if you just incorporate those elements, that would be telling facts to people. Facts inform, stories sell. I still remember the stories that my grandmother told me about her experiences during World War II, where she had to dress up in boy clothes, her hair cropped so short she looked exactly like a boy. The family had to run into the jungles and hide in the bushes, and she had to climb up the tree just to make sure that the Japanese were not nearby. Stories like this still remain in my memory. But the stories or the facts that I learned from history lessons from my boring history teacher, I can't remember most of it because it's a lot of facts. Facts about the year, when, where. It is missing one important element, which is the element of excitement, the feeling, what I saw, what was heard. There's no conversation in the entire story, and therefore it's so dry, and most of us sleep through the history class. So why should you listen to a 46-year-old in a black dress? Hi, I'm Jules T, and welcome to the JulesTalk channel. I'm currently working in the manufacturing industry, and I've made loads and loads of mistakes throughout my 20 plus years. And I want to share with you things that I wish I knew somebody would have told me 20 plus years ago, so that you don't have to make the same mistakes that I did in the past. So let's get to it. Let me show you what I mean by storytelling. Let me give you a scenario. Let's say someone asked me, how did I meet my husband? Using a standard answer, I would have said, I met my husband through a mutual friend when we went out for hiking together. That's kind of bland. That's kind of meh. There's nothing exciting about it. Okay, let's go to another technique where I put some storytelling element into it. 20 years ago, during a long weekend, a good girlfriend of mine asked me out for a hike. She was going hiking with some friends, and she wanted me to accompany her. So I did, because I really had nothing to do, and I think a good hike would do me good. So we went to this national forest located at the north part of Penang Island. I absolutely love the place because it is a hiking trail that leads you all the way to a secluded beach. And then we take a boat back. And during this trip, she introduced me to all her friends, where I didn't know all of them except my friend. And I noticed at the corner of my eye, there was this boy that was wearing a yellow shirt and having this really nice hair, just like Aaron Kwok. I love guys with Aaron Kwok hair where they will flip their hair like that. He looked so cool. But it was just that I didn't know him, but I thought that he looked cute. So let's call him Mr. Cute. Nothing happened during that trip, and I really enjoyed it so much because I came back and I felt that I lost a pound. After that hike, we decided that, hey, let's do another hike again. And the next week, we met up again for the hike. During midway of the hike, when I was lugging myself up the hill, feeling hot and sweaty, feeling like, why did I agree to go on this hike? Because it was so tiring, so hot, the mosquitoes everywhere, and my shoes were again messed up with mud. I didn't feel my best. My hair was everywhere and my face looked so sticky. I wasn't looking at my best. I don't think I looked attractive to anyone then. I was surprised to find this boy wearing the same shirt that he wore the previous week, so I knew it was him. And he walked up to me and asked me, hey Jules, you remembered my name. I was like, hi. And he smiled sheepishly and said, Jules, did you check your email? And I was like, check email? No. I usually, at that time 20 years ago, there's no WhatsApp, just SMS. And I said, no. And you could see a relief on his face because he was relieved that I didn't reject him. And then he said, actually I emailed you to ask if I could fetch you out for the hike. And I was like, is that so? And I was thinking to myself, why didn't he just SMS me? Why did he email me? I don't check my email. So I said, no, I didn't check my email. And I thought it was a bit odd. But nevertheless, the next thing happened that was really sweet was he said, oh, no worries. Then he unzipped his bag and he took out a bunch of flowers that he picked up from the trail. And you could see the flowers were a little bit crushed. Yeah, instead of technology, I think I'll use this traditional way. Here are flowers for you. And I was like, oh, I'm so touched. And that's where my heart melted and this guy is cute too. And then we started to know each other, and that's how our love blossomed. So this story is not a Hollywood story where the knight in shiny armor came up on a horse and put me on his horse and we rode into the sunset. It was nothing like that. It was just an ordinary story where I met him through a mutual friend and we hit off. So you see the difference. The first technique that I used versus the second technique I used, the first story was so bland. I just told about the facts that I met this man through a mutual friend through a hiking activity. Versus the second story where I explained the whole scenario, how it first started through an invitation, and then how I met him during the second hike where he asked me whether I checked my email. I had all this dialogue going on, me and him talking to each other. I shared the way I reacted, my facial expression. So you feel that you are in the conversation, you are part of the acting scene. So it makes the story more relatable and easier to remember. I shared with you my emotion, how I felt, how my heart fluttered, and how happy I was receiving the flowers, even though it was just wildflowers. Telling a story versus telling facts makes a lot of difference in a conversation. Storytelling reminded me of this boss of mine that I had in my previous job. She enjoyed telling me analogy. Stories helped me to understand how to tackle a certain situation. And she would tell me stories of her past experience, how that helped her or led her to make this decision. And she told me stories that helped me to understand myself better. And through these stories, I learned all these lessons, and it didn't feel like it was a lecture, but it sort of bring a kind of realization to what I'm doing. I really miss all these coaching stories that she did with me. And from this lesson I learned, when I coach my team, I also use stories as well. I try to use and incorporate as much stories I can with my team because I find that stories actually breaks down the barriers between another person, and it allows the other person to share their personal stories, their personal grievances, their worries and concerns with me, because I'm willing to put down my guard and share my stories with them. So stories allow you to connect better with the other person and creates more trust when you're trying to build a relationship with the other person that you're talking to. So try this storytelling formula. Besides the where, what, why, who, when, add also what you see, visual, what you hear, audio, and what you did, kinesthetic, where you are actually moving your body around, and add the emotional element of it, how you felt at that time, and create some dialogue in your storytelling so that your audience will feel that they're part of the scene and they're with you as you are talking through the story. Try this in your next conversation and tell me how it worked out for you. I hope you enjoyed this video. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!